Did humanity really land on the moon? The space race unveiled. Did the moon landing really happen? This question has sparked numerous debates over the years. Conspiracy theories abound, suggesting it was an elaborate hoax. Yet scientific evidence overwhelmingly supports its authenticity. Let's dive into these theories and the irrefutable scientific truths that affirm humanity's giant leap. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest content. Moon landing hoax theory, Bill Casing. This conspiracy claims that the 1969 Apollo 11 landing was staged in a Hollywood studio. Bill Casing, who first proposed this idea in his 1974 book, We Never Went to the Moon, argued that NASA lacked the technology to reach the moon, and that the landing was fake to win the space race against the Soviet Union and restore public confidence after several space failures. Evidence from conspiracy theorists. Photos of the moon landing. Conspiracists argue that the shadows in the Apollo 11 images seem inconsistent, claiming that multiple light sources were used, which would suggest a controlled studio setting. They point to shadows that appear to be cast in different directions, which they believe is evidence that the images were taken on Earth under artificial lighting. Waving flag. Another major argument is that the American flag appears to wave in the vacuum of space, which, according to theorists, should be impossible. They claim that this is proof that a fan or wind machine was used in a set environment to create the illusion of a breeze. No stars in photos. Conspiracists often point out that no stars are visible in the background of the lunar surface images, claiming this to be evidence that the backdrop was manipulated or filmed indoors to avoid replicating the positions of stars. Classified documents. Casing, who worked at Rocketdyne, the company that developed engines for the Apollo missions, claimed to have access to confidential information proving NASA's inability to carry out a real moon landing. Scientific refutations. Shadows and lighting. The inconsistent shadows can be explained by the uneven terrain on the moon and the single source of light, the sun. Shadows appear to be cast at different angles depending on the surface they fall on. Flag movement. The flag waves due to the motion imparted to it when it was planted. In the vacuum of space, the fabric's movement continues longer than it would on Earth, where air resistance would quickly stop it. Absent stars. The cameras used on the moon were set to short exposure times to capture the bright lunar surface and the astronauts. The stars, much dimmer, were simply too faint to be recorded in those conditions. Stanley Kubrick and the moon landing. Another conspiracy theory claims that the US government hired Stanley Kubrick to fake the moon landing. This theory emerged after Kubrick's 1968 film, 2001, A Space Odyssey, showcased groundbreaking space visuals, leading some to speculate that Kubrick had the technical expertise to film a convincing moon landing. Proponents claim Kubrick filmed the landing in a studio and point to his later film, The Shining, 1980, as a coded confession. Evidence from conspiracy theorists. Visual similarities. Theorists argue that the lighting effects and visual style of 2001, A Space Odyssey bear similarities to the Apollo 11 footage, suggesting Kubrick's involvement in both. Confession in The Shining. Some claim that The Shining contains clues about Kubrick's role in the hoax. For example, they argue that Danny's sweater with an Apollo 11 rocket is a cryptic reference. They also point to room 237, which they say refers to the moon's distance from Earth, supposedly 237,000 miles, although the actual average distance is around 238,855 miles. Refutation of the Kubrick theory. There is no credible evidence linking Kubrick to the moon landing. The similarities between his film and the Apollo footage are a result of the cinematic techniques used in 2001, A Space Odyssey, to create a convincing portrayal of space. The supposed clues in The Shining are considered by most to be coincidental or examples of overinterpretation. Furthermore, Kubrick never indicated involvement in any such project, and the physical evidence of the moon landing, including rock samples and testimonies from astronauts, debunks the theory. Now let's explore the key milestones in the space race, highlighting the pivotal moments that led humanity to develop the technology necessary for landing on the moon. It all began with Sputnik in 1957, a small satellite launched by the Soviet Union. This historic event marked the start of the space race, igniting a fierce competition between the USA and the USSR. The world watched in awe as humanity ventured beyond Earth's atmosphere for the first time. Just a month after Sputnik, the Soviet Union achieved another milestone with Sputnik 2. This mission carried Laika, the first dog in space. Although Laika did not survive the journey, her mission paved the way for future human spaceflight. demonstrating the potential for living beings to endure space conditions. In response to the Soviet advancements, the USA launched Explorer 1 in January 1958. This satellite not only marked America's entry into the space race, but also led to the discovery of the Van Allen radiation belts. It was a significant achievement that spurred further advancements in space exploration. Later that same year, NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, was founded to lead America's space endeavors. The establishment of NASA centralized the country's efforts and resources, driving innovation and scientific discovery. This new agency would soon become the cornerstone of the United States' ambitious plans to explore the final frontier. In 1961, Yuri Gagarin made history by becoming the first human to orbit Earth. This monumental achievement by the Soviet Union marked a significant milestone in space exploration and intensified the space race between the USA and the USSR. Gagarin's successful mission proved that human spaceflight was possible. Shortly after Gagarin's historic orbit, President Kennedy boldly challenged America to land a man on the moon by the end of the decade. This ambitious goal galvanized the nation, leading to unprecedented investment in space technology and research. Kennedy's vision set the stage for the Apollo missions. In the same year, Alan Shepard became the first American in space, reinforcing the USA's commitment to catching up with the Soviet Union. Shepard's suborbital flight demonstrated American ingenuity and determination, providing a much-needed morale boost and laying the groundwork for future, more complex missions. Meanwhile, in 1959, the Soviet Union's Luna 2 became the first spacecraft to reach the moon. This achievement further showcased Soviet advancements in space exploration and underscored the competitive nature of the space race. Luna 2's success provided valuable data about the moon's surface. From 1965 to 1966, Project Gemini played a crucial role in preparing the USA for lunar missions. These missions tested vital spaceflight techniques, such as spacewalks, orbital maneuvers, and long-duration flights. The knowledge and experience gained from Project Gemini were instrumental in paving the way for the Apollo program. In 1965, Alexei Leonov stepped out of his spacecraft, becoming the first human to perform a spacewalk. This monumental achievement showcased human resilience and innovation, pushing the boundaries of what was possible in space exploration. Leonov's bravery and technical skill laid the groundwork for future extravehicular activities. The Ranger and Surveyor missions, conducted between 1964 and 1966, were pivotal in gathering crucial data about the moon. These missions sent robotic spacecraft to capture images and analyze the lunar surface. The valuable information collected helped scientists and engineers plan and execute manned lunar missions with greater precision and safety. Apollo 8 marked a historic milestone in 1968 by successfully orbiting the moon. The mission's crew, including astronauts Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders, provided humanity with its first glimpse of Earthrise from lunar orbit. This achievement demonstrated NASA's growing expertise and set the stage for subsequent moon landings. The Soyuz 1 tragedy in 1967 was a sobering reminder of the perils of space exploration. Cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov perished when the spacecraft malfunctioned during re-entry. This heartbreaking event highlighted the need for rigorous safety measures and underscored the immense risks astronauts face in their quest to explore space. The Apollo 1 fire in 1967 further underscored the dangers inherent in space missions. Astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger B. Chaffee tragically lost their lives during a pre-launch test. This catastrophic incident led to significant safety improvements and reinforced the importance of meticulous preparation and stringent protocols in space exploration endeavors. In 1969, Apollo 11 achieved the seemingly impossible by landing humans on the moon. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin's historic steps marked a giant leap for mankind. This monumental event captivated the world, signifying technological prowess and unifying humanity in awe of what we can accomplish through perseverance and innovation. The flag's apparent waving can be explained by the lack of air resistance on the moon. When the astronauts planted the flag, the motion caused it to ripple. The flag was designed with a horizontal rod to keep it extended, creating the illusion of movement in the still, airless environment. Another common theory claims that the absence of stars in the moon landing photos is evidence of a hoax. Skeptics argue that, without stars, the images must have been staged on Earth, where studio lighting can account for their omission, further fueling doubts about the mission's authenticity. Stars weren't visible in the photos due to the camera's exposure settings, which focused on the brightly lit lunar surface and astronauts. The high contrast between the moon's surface and the black sky washed out the distant stars, a phenomenon consistent with photography principles and not evidence of deception. Inconsistent shadows on the moon's surface are often cited as evidence of studio lighting in the moon landing photographs. Skeptics argue that the angles and lengths of shadows should be uniform, given a single light source, the sun. This perceived anomaly fuels the conspiracy that the landing was staged. However, the scientific community explains these shadow inconsistencies through the uneven lunar terrain and the angle of sunlight. The moon's irregular surface causes shadows to appear at different angles and lengths, even from the same light source. This natural phenomenon debunks the theory of artificial studio lighting. Another popular belief is that the Van Allen radiation belts would have exposed the astronauts to lethal doses of radiation. Critics argue that traversing these belts without suffering fatal consequences is impossible, suggesting that the moon landing was a fabricated event designed to deceive the public. Scientists counter this argument by detailing the spacecraft's effective shielding and the calculated, swift transit through the radiation belts. The astronauts' limited exposure time and protective measures ensured their safety, making this theory another easily debunked myth about the moon landing. Skeptics also claim that without moisture, the moon's surface couldn't capture and hold footprints. They argue that the clear, defined footprints left by astronauts are inconsistent with the dry, airless lunar environment, pointing this out as further proof of a staged landing. Critics argue that footprints on the moon couldn't have formed without moisture, suggesting a hoax. However, lunar dust is fine and powdery, allowing it to hold impressions even in the absence of moisture. This unique composition enables clear footprints, debunking the myth that moisture is necessary for their formation. People question the high quality of the images from the moon landings, suspecting studio trickery. NASA, however, used state-of-the-art cameras and film technology specifically designed for space conditions. This ensured that the photos and videos captured were of exceptional clarity, further validating the authenticity of the missions. Some conspiracy theorists claim that no one saw the Saturn V rocket launches, casting doubt on the missions. In reality, thousands of people witnessed and documented these historic events. Public and media presence during the launches provided ample evidence, reinforcing the legitimacy of the moon landings. Astronauts' first-hand accounts of their moon missions are often dismissed by skeptics. These detailed and emotional testimonies, however, provide invaluable insights and credibility. The astronauts' experiences, shared through interviews and autobiographies, strongly support the truth of the lunar missions, countering claims of fabrication. Moon rocks brought back by astronauts are sometimes alleged to be fake. Extensive scientific analyses conducted by independent laboratories worldwide confirm their extraterrestrial origin. These rocks possess unique properties that distinguish them from terrestrial materials, providing compelling evidence that humans indeed set foot on the lunar surface. Astronauts' first-hand accounts are often dismissed by skeptics who claim they were coerced or coached. However, these testimonies, filled with detailed descriptions and emotional recollections, paint a vivid picture of their experiences. The sheer consistency and authenticity across multiple astronaut stories bolster the credibility of the moon landing missions. Moon rocks brought back by Apollo missions are frequently labeled as fake by conspiracy theorists. However, these samples have undergone rigorous analysis in independent laboratories around the world. Scientists confirm their unique composition is unlike any terrestrial rocks, providing compelling evidence of their extraterrestrial origin. Global tracking of the moon missions played a crucial role in affirming their legitimacy. Countries, including the USSR, monitored the missions closely. This international scrutiny and the data collected from various tracking stations worldwide provided additional layers of verification, reinforcing the authenticity of the lunar landings. Reflectors left on the moon by Apollo astronauts are often cited as hoaxes. Yet these reflectors are critical tools in ongoing laser experiments. Scientists use them to measure the precise distance between the Earth and the moon, showcasing their practical application and reinforcing the reality of the moon landings. Conspiracy theories about the moon landing are intriguing, but ultimately lack scientific backing. The overwhelming evidence, from astronauts' testimonies to the independent verification of moon rocks and global tracking, underscores the authenticity of these historic missions. Science continues to debunk these myths, reaffirming humanity's monumental achievement. Countries around the world, including the Soviet Union, tracked the Apollo missions, providing independent verification of their success. The global collaboration in tracking added an extra layer of credibility, making it difficult for any nation to falsify such monumental achievements. This international confirmation is a strong testament to the mission's authenticity. Reflectors left on the moon by Apollo astronauts are still used today for laser ranging experiments. These reflectors allow scientists to measure the precise distance between Earth and the moon. The ongoing success of these experiments provides tangible evidence that humans did indeed land on the moon and leave equipment behind. Conspiracy theories about the moon landing are captivating, but lack scientific evidence. Each claim, from the waving flag to the absence of stars in photos, can be explained through basic physics and engineering principles. The persistence of these myths underscores the need for critical thinking and scientific literacy. Belief in science's ability to debunk myths is crucial for understanding our world. The moon landing serves as a prime example of how scientific inquiry can dispel falsehoods. Engaging with credible sources and evidence-based information helps us appreciate human achievements and the rigorous processes behind them. What do you think? Do you believe we really landed on the moon, or was it all a hoax for the United States to win the space race against the former Soviet Union? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you want us to cover a specific topic, please write it in the comments. Give this video a like and share it so your family and friends can also learn about the space race unveiled. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and don't miss our recommended video at the end. You will enjoy it. Never forget, history is the imitator of time, the repository of actions, the witness of the past, the example and warning of the present, the caution for the future.